Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Brother Sister Show, a family owned and operated podcast where two siblings keep in touch by talking about movies. This week, we're talking about Livia's pick, His House. Can you make any more noise?
Sorry,
Please,
no,
with your
was
chair?
that really noisy?
No, you're fine.
I just couldn't stop laughing at how you said, "Hi, everybody," like really creepy.
We got to change it up. So what's up, Livia? What's new? What have you watched? What have you learned since the last time we were here?
I learned a lot about credit scores.
Oh, yeah?
I learned that, I mean, not to bring the mood down right from the jump, but I learned that if you pay off your loans, like your student loans, that your credit score goes down. Which
Mighty
is
fun.
fucked. But yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know credit scores were started in 1989. That's earth-shattering to me. I learned something else too that I was like, what the fuck this week? But I can't remember what it is, so it can't be that important.
What have you watched?
So I want to talk about two things because I can't remember like anything else that I watched. Because I'm like you, I think me and you have the same problem where I'm like, I watched like two things and then I asked Sebastian and he was like, well, we watched this and we watched an entire show.
Yeah.
But I did. Oh, actually, I just remembered one. So I watched a movie called Becky. I don't know if you've seen it. I think my dad told me about it a while ago and I don't really, there's not much to say other, like I don't want to spoil it, but it's kind of like a revenge movie-ish. And the girl and the person that's like, I guess, enacting on the revenge is a young girl. So that's interesting. So it was a fun movie, I guess. It was pretty gory, but it was fun. And then I watched the Britney Spears documentary, the one that's on Hulu.
Oh, like, is it, why?
So I kept I didn't know it was a thing, and then I kept hearing about it because I don't know if you saw the hashtags Free Britney and all the people talking about Britney Spears, and it's interesting for people that don't know much about her, that all they know about is the tabloids and her music and Justin Timberlake, like all that shit. It's a good check on how people talk about celebrities. I don't know if that makes sense, but it showcases really well how shitty she was treated. Like if you think about every single touchstone of what you and me have probably known about her shaving her head, about her almost dropping her kid, about like all that, how it was framed in a way to villainize her, even though she was like she shaved her head because she was being used as like a puppet in a machine and she just wanted to shave her head so that she can prove that she was still her own person. And she tripped and almost dropped her baby because the paparazzi was so intensely harassing her that she was so scared for her child that she drove with her kid on her lap.
That's scary.
But and she said too, I mean, she's country. She said my dad always drove with me like that. And like, I don't not believe her. And also like she said, if you see the video of these paparazzi, the way they're surrounding her cars at all times, yeah, I would be terrified to put my kid into a fucking carrier. Like I don't know how she could have, because of how many people are bothering her, like stuff like that. Or the questions they would ask her. A guy in an interview asked her if she was a virgin. How is that okay to ask? Like just shit like that. Or the very first time, I think she was on like Star Search, or the very first thing she was on, and she was like, must have been like 5 or something. And the question he asked her after she was done singing, 5 or 7 maybe, he asked if she had a boyfriend.
What the hell?
Yeah. And so just shit like that, just how it was a good, like I said, a self-check on me and how I viewed her. Like I used to, I guess I would used to think those jokes or make those jokes that she was crazy, but she's not. Like and even if she is, it's none of my fucking business. Like it's, or even if she has issues, none of my business. Just like, I don't know, it brings into question a lot of like celebrity and how we treat not just celebrity, but women, like famous women.
Right.
And Justin Timberlake is just an asshole. He's really a piece of shit because like of everything that happened with the Super Bowl just reminded like how people always bring him up after, like during the Super Bowl, what he did to her. Like, yeah, just not a great person, I guess.
So he didn't act in Social Network.
I don't think so. Oh my God, wait. This is going to take us down a rabbit hole. You brought up Social Network. No, not yet. I want to wait, okay. But I keep seeing TikToks about a certain star from Social Network.
I forgot he was in it.
And holy shit, we have to talk about it. Okay, so this is the weirdest beginning to one of our episodes ever.
It is. It's a cursed episode.
It is, because we're going to talk about Armie Hammer. So I didn't realize how much of a I think I saw something that said that his career was going down a free fall right now. I didn't realize how much of that was true until I saw certain TikToks. There's certain news now that comes out where I just avoid it. I'm like, I don't want to know. And the whole cannibal shit, I just heard something about it. I didn't know too much. And I thought it was kind of, people were like making fun. It was like another thing where people were kind of making fun of it.
I saw some of the DMs that were like, supposedly ones that he sent. It's pretty weird stuff.
It's pretty weird, but I think another thing I didn't realize on top of the weird shit, which a lot of people were making fun of, but I think it also had to do a lot of like, he likes kinky shit, but he's also he's not somebody that takes into account people's consent, which is an issue, obviously. And so that is one thing that's not funny and made my stomach turn a little bit. But then I think that stuff's like kind of died down, especially because of like the GameStop news, which that is insane. I learned more about that this week too. But then there's new rumors coming out that something big is going to happen with Armie Hammer.
Hey, you called me in a frantic yesterday. You were sweating.
I didn't call you for that, did I? But holy shit. I don't know because I don't want to like...
We'll just wait until something happens.
All I know, and all I've heard on TikTok, and not just on TikTok, because people are like, girl, you get your news from TikTok. I've seen like on other places too, on other outlets.
BuzzFeed, The Onion.
The Onion, yes. That people, well, also, if you just infer from the news, I mean, his publicist and his agent dropped him.
That's pretty wild.
Especially to like a degree of actor that wasn't he nominated for an award or something? Like either way, he's in stuff. He's a working actor. He's very famous. And for them to just suddenly drop him, even I think he was somebody brought up something about like, I don't know, if you just look at the past of like publicists and agents who they tend to drop, it has to be bad. Like even with certain like sexual assault allegations, they still keep their team. But these dropped like very recently and suddenly.
Like his team must have looked at whatever was in their face and like,
for a publicist to look at that and be like, there's no fucking way I'm going to be a part of this.
That's like you see no way out. There's no light at the end of that tunnel. My next thing would be like, oh, there's
no money. Like maybe he lost his money, but that's not true either because it's not only he's not only independently wealthy, but he comes from a wealthy family, like a wealthy family, which also adds on to the lore of what I think he's going to be accused of is probably true because he's very rich and he has always been very rich. And there's a certain stereotype for people that are very rich. And I'll leave it at that. But wow. I'm going to have my ear to the ground on certain true crime podcasts. We're going to hear about certain stuff, I think.
Did someone say Armie Hammer? It'll be crazy. Wow.
Was I talking to you and I said, I think that was the earth shattering thing that I was mentioning earlier. Because I told you, like, I joked, like, if what I think will come out is going to come out, we have to like postpone the podcast for a week.
Yeah.
Because I would be so absolutely shook.
I mean,
I mean, now I'm prepping myself, so I think I'll be fine. But like,
Nah,
that's insane, though.
We'll see. I mean, that'll be a movie news segment that will take up the whole podcast.
Man, oh man. Okay, but the Britney Spears doc, anyways, it was good. If you want to learn more about her, she's under a really shady conservatorship, and also just conservatorships are shady within themselves, and you learn more about that. Yeah, and free Britney. This is a free Britney podcast. Credit free Britney podcast.
I like it.
And then I watched, I don't know if I talked about this special, but I watched a special called In and of Itself on Hulu. I watched it once and it moved me enough to where so Sebastian lives with me now. And I told him, so I think something that's going to happen every Friday is that I'm going to give him options to what we can watch that night. He has to pick one. And he said, okay, gosh. I know. And I said, okay, so the options are A Promising Young Woman, In and of Itself, and I forgot what the third one was. Oh, a movie that I saw on Netflix called What Happened to Monday, which actually I thought I put it on because I thought it'd be like a shitty action movie, but it was pretty good, so it surprised me. And he chose In and of Itself. And that's another one too where I don't want to give anything away. I will say it made me like ugly cry both times I watched it. It's very good. It's
ugly cry.
Yeah.
Only The Secret Life of Walter Mitty makes me do that.
Oh, did I show you my new cookbook?
Yeah, the binging with Babish.
Yes, and it has.
I said a joke in the family group chat. No one said anything
because it wasn't funny.
I figured, but
you want me to tell you, Sebastian and I are gonna make a recipe from it each week.
It's the pie, right?
The orange
or
one?
Cake, yeah.
Mm-hmm, it's in there
from Secret Life.
And I think the first one is gonna be, we're gonna go in order. And there's certain ones we're not going to make because they're like too crazy or they're gross. But we're making the turkey burger that Chris Traeger made in Parks and Rec.
Oh.
That has a lot of shit in it. And I don't really like ground turkey, so we'll see how it goes. But it has a lot of cool stuff.
Ratatouille?
Of course it does, yes.
Okay.
I'm going to try to, maybe this will be something that I want to post about it. Every time we make it,
do it.
I'm trying to think if I'll do it on my personal. Maybe I'll do it on my personal and the Brother Sister Show.
Did you post about the website?
Not yet.
Oh.
Maybe I'll do it right after this because I wanted to see what I don't know what caption. You're the caption person for stuff like this.
I had one. I thought. Okay.
But we'll post it. Well, by the time where this comes out, it'll be out, so we can talk about it.
Okay.
Yeah, but people know that I don't know if people know that it's live though. But
I tell people on stream.
There you go. But it'll be announced and I'm excited.
Yeah, it should be cool.
Do you want to talk about it right now or do you want to
I mean, go brothersistershow.com. There's a home page which has our latest episodes, an about page which has more information on us individually. An episodes page where you can first you can filter by all of the episodes that I've picked the movies for, ones Livia's picked for, or the ones that have our guest appearances. So that's really cool. And you can like search through those. And then finally we have a contact page where you could just fill it out, give us any feedback. Maybe some bugs.
Tell us your credit score.
Yeah, tell us your credit score, social, the credit card information so we can make sure that your credit line is okay.
Ooh, tell us your theories on Armie Hammer.
Yes, please. And it has like all of our stuff, our Spotify, our Discord, Instagram. It's our one-stop shop for everything. So go check it out. I worked a lot on it.
All right. Other than that, what have you been watching?
Well,
did Caleb make you write a list?
Yeah, right before the podcast, I was like, what did we watch? Did we watch anything? No, right? She's like, we watched a ton. Listed stuff. Least important first. We watched Super Bowl, like half of it. Whatever.
Yeah, who cares?
Right now we were watching Community. We watched the paintball episode, the Western / Star Wars one. Classic. That show is amazing. We also finished One Day at a Time. Very sad.
Did you cry?
No.
Okay.
It did change though. It got a little worse when it moved to Pop TV because
Imagine
Netflix
that.
canceled it. Then it went on a Pop TV, went in the pooper. And I think CBS is shopping it around. So
Still?
hopefully something will happen. Yeah.
That show is never gonna die.
Then, well, there's a big thing that hit last Friday. WandaVision. We watched WandaVision. And yesterday we watched Age of Ultron because Kayla wanted to watch because it's kind of, that's when Quicksilver dies. And spoiler, I guess for you too, Livia, you gonna watch WandaVision?
No.
So, this is like the TikTok I saw where it's like a guy explaining to his girlfriend why the last episode of WandaVision is so important.
Oh, I think Sebastian showed it to me where he was writing on a whiteboard, right? And I told him that's Anthony that trying to explain to me what the fuck is going on.
So, in the last episode of WandaVision, as I said, spoiler, Evan Peters shows up, who is Quicksilver and the X-Men universe, right? With Wolverine, Magneto.
Imagine having the option of Evan Peters. Maybe, okay, this is another thing that people are going to probably get mad at us for, or mad at me for. Imagine having the option of Aaron Taylor Johnson? Is that his name? Or Evan Peters and choosing Evan Peters. What? Sorry, go on.
I mean, I like Evan Peters' Quicksilver a lot more. He's just a lot more fun.
The other one's hotter, though.
especially watching Age of Ultron.
Yeah.
He's just Quicksilver in that movie is just, wow, what are you doing? You're fast. I get he's young. He doesn't really know his powers, but whatever. Anyways, this is the moment we'll look back and be like, this is when the multiverse started. This is it. I mean, you could argue it started earlier, but
is that how, when they say that, is that how that's how they're going to justify X-Men joining and then Fantastic Four?
That's a lot of theories, yeah. There's a line in the latest episode where I forgot her name. The detective says it's like, oh, I know an Astro or
and it's Mr. What's his face?
Reed Richards.
I know, but then I saw that and they were like, and you see the 4 in the background. It's like the Fantastic Four. And I was like, okay, that's too much. That's a little much.
But I feel like this is that episode was the start of something. So WandaVision's all right. I'll give it something.
I'm glad I made you excited.
Yeah, I mean the possibilities are endless.
Where does Tobey Maguire fit into all of this?
Oh, I just saw Tom Holland was like, no, they're not going to be in it.
Okay, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just because he's like infamous for like spoiling a bunch of stuff.
And they always say that shit. Who cares? I mean...
Yeah. Oh, I also saw, this was a long time ago, that Willem Dafoe was seen like in the area of, or if not on set, I think.
Okay, that's the only thing I care about. If I see that Spider-Man movie and he pops up, I'm going to cry.
Don't tell Harry.
Wait, but how would he?
I don't know. I get some gears turning. I see him turning. I don't know.
I mean, truly, I would, if they hired, they would never, but if they would ever hire me to be a writer in one of the movies, I'd be okay, but like, can we find a way with all this nerd shit? Can somebody find a way to put Willem Dafoe in this movie? I mean, for the love of God.
They might find a way.
He was in that What Happened to Monday movie. You should watch, Anthony. I think you'd like it. It's like sci-fi.
Kayla saw it. It's like the siblings, only one of them. Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I think that's it.
All right, so I want to end before we go to the break. This is gonna be a long half, but we need to talk about. I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the Golden Globe nominees.
I haven't seen any of them. Is it rough? It's rough.
Do you want me to read you some?
Yeah, read me.
Do you care about? Well, first of all, the television ones. Have you heard of the show Emily in Paris?
Yeah.
That was nominated.
Why?
I don't know.
I've like, when it first came out, I heard a bunch about it, but I never.
And how bad it is, right?
Yeah.
So Lily Collins was nominated for it. It's like all the same people, except that was like bad.
It's out there.
Yeah, Ozark. Trying to think of like the really bad ones. I can do the best. So best television series drama is The Crown, Lovecraft Country, The Mandalorian, Ozark, and Ratched. Best limited series or motion picture made for television: Normal People, The Queen's Gambit, Small Axe, The Undoing, and Unorthodox.
I feel like Queen's Gambit's gonna win, and that makes me upset.
Maybe, I don't know. It makes me upset that everybody is talking about this, but you probably haven't seen it. But I May Destroy You on HBO Max was the best show to come out this year, and it got absolutely nothing. And I was distraught that morning. I was so fucking upset. We have a new, like, at work we have different like interest groups, and somebody made the mistake of adding me to the movies and TV one. And my God, it was so bad. There's worse ones. Okay, so best television series, musical or comedy: Emily in Paris. I'm going to throw up. The Flight Attendant, Schitt's Creek, The Great, and Ted Lasso. Don't know what any of those are. For film, best motion picture, musical or comedy: Borat, subsequent movie film. Hamilton. Okay. Hamilton is not a movie. Hamilton is not a movie.
Plus, isn't it like 4 hours long?
It's not a movie.
Because it's
a play. You can't just film it and say it's a movie. Hamilton's not a movie. Okay, music, which is Sia just professing how much she hates autistic people. Palm Springs and The Prom.
Palm Springs.
Palm Springs is good. Well, music, okay, we haven't got into this, but Sia made a movie about a nonverbal autistic woman or girl. And she cast somebody that is not autistic, and she got into fights with actual autistic actors on Twitter about it, and said that she did that. The girl Maddie Ziegler, the one that she always has in like music videos, she cast her as the main person in the movie, and she argued with people. And what else did she do? She had an interview where the interviewer compared autistic people to a wig because they're nonverbal. So she said that they're like wigs, and Sia was like, yeah. And then people were like, why did you not hire, if you're going to make a movie about a nonverbal autistic woman, hire an actor that is nonverbal and autistic? And she said that she tried to do that, and she did hire somebody, but then the environment was too stressful for them, so she had to hire neurotypical actor.
But
and people were like, okay, then you don't care about autistic people.
Yeah,
why are you going to make a movie about an autistic person if you're not going to make the environment feasible to have an autistic person in the movie? So that movie is nominated for best motion picture. The Prom is one of the worst movies I've ever seen. Best motion picture drama: The Father, Mank, Nomadland, Promising Young Woman, and The Trial of the Chicago 7.
Sacha Baron Cohen's going off. He's in that one, right?
Yeah. And then just another egregious thing. An A24 film called Minari was nominated, but it was nominated for Best Motion Picture Foreign Language. It's an American film.
What the hell?
I think most of it's not in English, so I guess they were like, no. It says next to it USA, but okay.
USA.
Yeah, there was other stuff too.
I'm glad Lovecraft Country
James Corden was nominated for
or
best
County.
actor.
And what?
The Prom.
Cats? Oh.
Cats would have been amazing. And then Lin-Manuel Miranda for Hamilton the musical, the play, not the movie.
Wow.
Oh wait, best motion picture animated. I didn't even see this one. The Croods: A New Age. I didn't even know
No
they
one
made a
saw
new
that.
Croods.
No one saw that.
Onward, Over the Moon, Soul, and Wolf Walkers.
If Onward wins that and not Soul,
Well,
that would
we
suck.
have Chris Pratt to blame.
Tom
Chadwick
Holland
Boseman
too.
was nominated for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. I haven't seen that,
Me neither.
but I heard he was really good in it. Riz Ahmed was nominated for The Sound of Metal.
Hey, that's good.
And I think
He was good in that.
he was very good in it. Yeah, rest of it couldn't give any more of a shit. Oh, Andy Samberg was nominated too. I'm just going through these. Oh,
Palm
best
Springs is
original
good.
score. Tenet was nominated. Well, it should be because that's all I could fucking hear. Yeah. It just Jared Leto was nominated for The Little Things.
Oh, really?
And Leslie Odom Jr. was nominated for One Night in Miami, but I think he was the only one. Oh no, that's not true.
Wait, Jared Leto is in Little Things?
Apparently.
Only mom told me that I was dumb.
Only
So,
mom?
I called it.
Well, yeah. It's just a shit show, as you can tell.
Wow.
Yep.
I'm glad I didn't see any of those nominations.
Yeah. It ruined my day. And it made me terrified for the Oscars. Because I always complain about these award shows. I know I complain about them, and I know people are probably like, just don't watch them. But I can't do that.
Yeah.
I'm going to watch them, and I'm going to complain.
Well, the Oscars, like who? Wow.
I'm so scared.
Well, I mean,
Jared Leto is going to win another fucking Oscar, and I'm going to lose my shit. I saw a tweet that was like, who decided that Jared Leto was a good character actor? Like, who told him that?
I saw that.
Who's
That's
letting
funny.
him get away with that? He's really not that good.
Oh
my God. Did you see the new Joker still?
Yeah.
You know the way I'm sitting right now? That's literally how he's
It looks gross.
He just like took a shower. He'd look like he just took the same. No wonder you were confused, because he just looks like the guy from The Little Things, or A Little Thing. Also, stupid name for a movie.
The Little Things? Yeah, oh yeah.
I'm just sorry. I feel like I'm just angry this episode.
There's so many things to be angry with in the industry. But wow.
Oh, I didn't even send you that clip where I think Variety does an actors on actors thing where actors like interview each other. And Jared Leto was in it, and John David Washington interviewed, or they like were interviewing each other. And he was like, I should have sent this to you, but it was a clip where he was like, I never even met Mr. Washington. And John David was like, what? He was like, basically he said that I don't do rehearsal. Usually I don't, there's no time, which also, first of all, what is he doing that he can't go to like
after the first take? That's when you're acting.
So, I was going to say I'm doing a Matthew McConaughey. They have the same vibe, I think. They would like.
And Jared Leto? Jared Leto is just a emo. I feel like they could, Matthew McConaughey.
They could just get into a room with each other and not say a word.
But would, like, have a fully conversation.
Yeah.
A full conversation.
And then, no, like after 30 minutes, Matthew McConaughey would be like, hey, man. And then he'd just leave.
All right.
But he was like, yeah, I just started, and then I guess he said he was in character the whole time, so he never met him. Can you imagine? Well, I never met Denzel Washington. Well, weren't you on a set with him for like?
That wasn't me.
For like a month? Wasn't me.
I couldn't tell you a damn thing. That's rough.
Can you imagine? I bet whenever somebody like, I bet when Denzel like signed on to be in this movie, they were like, okay, but Jared Leto is going to be the
He's like,
villain. He's like, God fucking damn it.
You're lucky I need this paycheck. He's the one who was like, yeah, I just came back from the desert. What's happening in the world? What the hell was that? Man, this pandemic's been so long.
I'm losing my mind.
New phone, who this?
If you play, we should do a double feature of the episode that we had this week last year, and then this one. And this one is probably so much more unhinged.
Oh yeah,
talking about Armie Hammer, the rumors that he just murdered people. I'll just say it.
I saw a. It's funny. I saw a YouTube video where it was like, "How would you survive? Would you rather?" Or like, "How to survive? Would you rather?"
That movie?
Yeah. Do you remember like the premise of that movie?
Yeah, but where is this coming from?
So in the movie, it's a rich guy who's like paying people to play his game. Would you rather?
I've seen the movie, but like what did this?
It's Armie Hammer.
The guy that's paying them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just take his character from Sorry to Bother You. Put it in that movie, the same guy.
I've never seen that.
Oh my God. You need to watch it because I think that's him.
Oh, no, I have seen it. Okay. Okay, yes. Okay.
That's exactly him. He didn't have to reach for that. He was like, I didn't even meet Lakeith Stanfield. I didn't even meet Mr. Stanfield.
Amen. Man, we gotta end this part. It's gonna be. It's been 40 minutes. I'm not gonna cut any of it though. No. I'm not gonna cut it.
Oh man,
we need a raw episode. You know, last one was really long. The next one's gonna be really short though.
Do you promise?
Yeah.
Unless this news comes out.
Should I cut it? I don't know.
I would say cut the credit stuff. That was weird.
Credit stuff. Oh, okay.
At the very beginning, just cut that.
I'm gonna leave this in so they don't know what we're talking about. But yeah.
Anthony and I went on a full. We checked his credit. We did the full report, and we just read it verbatim.
Credit Karma.
Not sponsored.
Yeah, man.
But if you check it, it doesn't lower your credit score. Are you okay?
That's cursed. Let's end this.
Okay. We'll be back after this. A refugee couple makes a harrowing escape from war-torn South Sudan, but then they struggle to adjust to their new life in English Town that has an evil lurking beneath the surface in his house. Directed and written by Remy Weeks, story by Felicity Evans and Toby Venables, starring Shope Durisu, Wunmi Mosaku, and Malaika Wakoli Avijaba. Nailed it.
As for the monies, we don't have those numbers because it was released on Netflix very recently.
Mm-hmm.
So
deal with it.
Yeah, deal with that. As for how the critics received it, a 6.5 out of 10 on IMDb, 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, and 72% on Metacritic. These figures are as no, I was gonna say are as of the recording date. Could change.
How? How?
I don't know.
What the hell? You okay?
It's a cursed episode.
Didn't we say that last time?
Yeah, but that one wasn't as weird.
Yeah, this one's kind of weird. But let's go with it. Maybe there's a witch that's cursing this episode. Ooh, spoiler.
I mean, your corner is kind of dark.
The closet door is open. Who knows? And the like angle is very like creep, Blair Witch Project-ish.
We could be an unfriended Zoom call.
Sebastian, I should have Sebastian just like stand in the corner, just facing
Blair Witch style.
Producer Sebastian back there. Checking the levels. All right, let's get started. we start in Sudan. We have a family that is at the center of this film. They start in a car or a truck, the back of a truck, and then we see them in a boat, but they fall out. It's very dramatic. Everybody is in the boat, like fell off, or I don't know exactly what happened. I guess the boat sank. I don't know.
During a storm, yeah.
Yeah. But it turns out it's a dream. It's a dream of one of our main characters, Bull. I think it's B-O-L. I think they say Bull, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then his wife, Rial. And they're a couple that are just escaped South Sudan. They're in a detention center. And then one day they're told that they're being released on bail as asylum seekers, which is a wild phrase to say. That they're asylum seekers, but they're released on bail. And so they have to live under a bunch of conditions that they have to agree to. And it's such a strange thing to me that they have to convince people that they're a good person.
Yeah.
When they just fled what looks like such horrific conditions. And they seem so excited to be let out, like they're like these people that are in the council or whatever are doing a good deed when it's like they're still living under all these conditions where they're like, you can't earn extra money, you can't do this, you can't do like so much fucking things that they can't do.
The bare minimum.
Exactly.
And it's like, it's messed up. Because they only get like 79 pounds a month or something like that, right?
Yeah, and I don't know how much that translates to.
Not a lot.
Yeah. But I do want to talk about how this is a movie. Obviously, it has actors in it. It's not completely real, but the situation that they're in is very real. So since December 2013, brutal conflict in South Sudan has claimed thousands of lives and driven nearly 4 million people from their homes. There are currently 4.3 million displaced people from South Sudan, including refugees, IDPs, and asylum seekers. Of those refugees, 63% of them are children.
That is a staggering percentage.
I know. And it's a staggering amount of people. I mean, 63% is a big number, but 63% of 4 million people is a lot of children. And who knows the kind of shit. I mean, just this movie shows you the kind of shit they went through and the stuff that just because they're seeking asylum in a new country does not mean that they're free from what happened to them. And it does not mean that they're free from the assholes that live in other countries. So.
Plus, it's just like one scenario.
It's what?
It's only one scenario. Like the movie that we see.
Exactly.
I can't even imagine the different stories for the rest of people that have gone through this and will go through this, have gone through this. Yeah, it's wild. And
I do want to remind people that this isn't, I mean, sometimes you can separate it, especially because, they have different accents, especially the people that they go to English town. So it feels very separate from where we are, but we still do have asylum seekers coming to America. So this is not something that we're, taken like too far separated from. So just have that point of view. And I also want to make note that one guy in the detention center, that before they left, one of the other people from Sudan, I guess he was like their roommate or something. He said, don't give your hopes up, because I forgot exactly what he said. I know he said that. And I think he said something about how, whatever they're giving you is still not yours. Like they still own it. So do not get your hopes up, which is at first I'm like annoyed, obviously. And they kind of ignore him, but like, he's got a point. So they arrive to their new home and it has even more rules. Like he just lists off all the shit that they cannot do. And the house itself is a shithole. And what's worse, if anything actually can be worse, is the fact that they have to fix it up themselves. So when they walk in, the door, it just falls off. And he's like, so you can go to a hardware store and just get shit to fix that. Yeah. And they're just like, and it's so sad because they look so happy. I mean, Bull is like, he is beaming. He's so excited that this is their house. And I think Rial keeps asking like, this is this entire place is just for us. And he's like, yeah.
And that bothered me. Not the fact that it's so big, but the the social worker, whatever his name was, Mark. He's like, this is bigger than my place. You guys have a bigger place. Like that helps. Like, yeah, that makes them
They
feel
bring
better.
it up a lot too.
Yeah.
And they do tell them that it's rare for only one family to be living there. So it is a big place, but it's the reason that it's so run down is because they stuff a bunch of people in there.
Yeah, it's rough. Like pizza box with all those little bugs. Gross. Disgusting.
Yeah, it's a nightmare. But for Bull and Real, they're very grateful for it, and they're very happy to be there.
Yeah.
Even when the shitty social worker, I don't know if he's a social worker. We're going to call him that. I don't want to give social workers a bad rap. But
Mark. I know his name was Mark.
Mark. Oh God, the worst name.
Terrible.
Well, Mark, I think he says to them, which made me shake my head. He said, "Just be one of the good ones."
Oh,
sir, how about you be one of the good ones? What do you mean?
Yeah, what the hell?
Okay, so after that, let's talk about the first thing that scared me so much when I first watched this movie that it made me pause and say, okay, we need to talk about this on the podcast. I knew from the first moment that this was a special movie, and I was like, we gotta wait. So Bull has a rough first night there. The sounds outside are loud enough to induce what seems like PTSD. Like he hears shouting and he just gets really overwhelmed by it.
Yeah.
And after that, he hears a bunch of strange noises in the wall. Not in the hall, in the fucking wall. And he checks out what ends up being bats. But then when he's looking at it, a mangled body of a child is behind him. Do you read my notes? That must have autocorrected because I don't know what the fuck that is. And then
of a tongue boy.
I tried to write because it was see, I told you I didn't put the daughter's name. I probably because I fucking didn't spell it right, but it must have been. Yeah, I must have put her name, but I don't know.
It was very creepy though.
Yeah, it was scary, and it scared the shit out of me, and I was like, okay, we gotta wait. And then I appear in the movie. This woman is looking out of I think their neighbor is looking out of a window in a pink robe, petting her cat ominously, and I was like, ooh,
smoking.
that's me. Yeah, that creepy bitch that's just nosy as hell. That's me. And the next night, Bo hears something in the walls again. This time, the wallpaper just peels off. But Bo doesn't like that surprise, and honestly, neither do I, because those walls look shitty as hell. He's like, "Oh yeah, that was." It's
like a perfect peel too.
He's just watching it, ooh, okay. And then he pulls the rookie mistake of just pulling the wires that are exposed. That he shouldn't, because the power instantly goes out as soon as he pulls them.
I don't know what he was thinking.
Maybe I don't know. Especially because it was obviously exposed wires. He could have killed himself. And then he pulls it even more. It turns into rope that has seaweed hanging from it, reminiscent of the boat incident. Obviously, that's something that's hanging over them. And then he pulls it. He keeps pulling it. I think there's a doll wrapped in it. Mm-hmm. And then somebody or something pulls the rope back, and it scared the shit out of me. And I do want to talk about the camera work in this movie. And I think overall it's really good. But there was this one instance where I was like, holy shit, where he is pulling, I think he's pulling the rope or something. He hears something behind him and he looks, and instead of looking at it, or instead of us seeing him turn around, the camera looks it turns around for us, and it scared the shit out of me. Not because anything was showing, but it made me so unsettled, because just imagine something scary happening in a movie and you're put in the point of view of the character. That's so unsettling. And just that one motion of that, I loved it so much, but it made me so scared.
I haven't seen that in a lot of movies.
In a while. I mean, I know I've seen it before.
Yeah.
And especially usually when movies do that, I feel a lesser filmmaker would just do it a lot, because it's it could turn very gimmicky. But I love that. I think that's the only instance that was used. So it was very effective, where it was very jarring.
I'm having, I guess, deja vu about talking about this exactly with Insidious,
I think so, yeah.
with that jump scare where he's like right over your shoulder, like the exact same.
Yeah. And it's the thing that's
Discussion.
upsetting, at least with Insidious. If I was a horror filmmaker, and I guess if I ever wanted to make one, I would be furious after seeing that. Because I'd be like, I can't ever fucking, that's a genius scare. And I could never do that. Because then people are going to be like, you just copying what Insidious did.
Yeah.
I don't know if this movie was to that level, but that I can picture somebody making a film being like, God fucking damn it, that's amazing. And I can never do it because people are always going to think it's derivative. Maybe in like 20 years, but.
I mean, everything's derivative.
But that would be blatant.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's something so original and so good that there's no way you can replicate it ever. Do you see what I mean though?
That's the goal.
I know. And that's what that would make me so angry. That's like when you hear, I don't know if you hear this a lot, but when you like listen to interviews where, like for instance, for Fleabag, like a lot of writers, when I hear interviews, they're like, what's the favorite thing that you watched this year? And they're like Fleabag. And it made me so angry when I watched it because it's so good. And it's so like, there's no way I could never do that. It just makes you so angry that you can never, like, if I listen to a podcast that talks about this movie and they do it better, I'd be pissed.
Oh, shit.
But
all they'd have to do is not talk about Armie Hammer. Like we set the bar really low.
Exactly. Or Jared Leto. Just never mention Jared Leto. Never say Christopher Nolan's name like in one episode. And then
that's a perfect podcast.
Well, we'll never get to that status.
And I don't want to be a part of it.
No, I would nothing to do with it. All right. And okay, so back to the movie. So it's very heartbreaking to me that in the house that is so shitty, that is like the wallpaper is fucking peeling off by itself, that they still want to make it home. Like the next morning, Bull is he's still trying to have a new start. And no matter where they go, they're still reminded what they ran from, because all of the things that are haunting them is from the boat, or it's from their daughter. It's like all these things that are still like hanging over them. And I mean, I guess when I wrote that, I was like, I'm just talking about the movie, but that's what good movies do, where you're just talking about the movie, but I'm actually talking about grief and about survivor's guilt. Like the movie makes you think of those things in different ways. And I love it.
It's so good because it's like, I've never gone through that. And I didn't realize that this movie was doing that until it was like almost too late, you know?
Exactly. We'll talk about it a little bit later, but I think a lot of great horror movies are doing that now.
Yeah. Talking about real things. Scariest things are real.
Not in like a luxury way where they make you experience it. But I have little notes about this, but yes.
Yeah.
All right. So after this, Rial is trying to find her way to the doctor and she gets lost. And she runs into a bunch of asshole children. I fucking hate teens. I just want to say that right now. And she finally finds her way to the doctor, but I just want to say that teens suck. Because they tell her like to go back to Africa. Ugh. And like kids suck, but they don't know. The thing that makes me so mad is that they don't know the gravity of what they told her. Because she is like, because of, it's not just like of the circumstances of her having to leave her home. But I mean, like I said, it's a great commentary on that, where people are like, especially in this country now, when people say shit like that,
you don't know what they've been through.
Exactly. And you could be triggering so many things that you don't even know of. Whew, okay. I also wanted to take a moment to talk about this very cringy conversation that Rial has with her doctor. And so let's talk about traditional scarification. And as the doctor awkwardly asks Rial about, she compliments her scars, I think, right? Mm-hmm. And so this is just research. I don't know too much about this, so this is what I found by just Googling stuff. Facial scarification is practiced among many ethnic groups in South Sudan, and various marks across the faces of tribesmen given give identity to the tribe and beauty to its women. Men of the Dinka tribe in South Sudan scar their faces with 3 parallel lines across the forehead in a rugged display of courage to the tribe. The marking is common as initiation pattern to parenthood. The Nuer, Nuer, I think that's a tribe name, as well receive facial markings as part of their initiation into adulthood. The most common initiation pattern among males consists of 6 parallel horizontal lines, which are cut across the forehead, often with a dip in the lines above the nose. Part of the Dinka and Nuer, other ethnic groups, or apart from the Dinka and Nuer, other ethnic groups like the Shilluk and Mundari practice facial scarification, all with their unique style of lines and dots. I don't know. I think for Rial, she has like arrows on her temples, and then I saw that Bull has some on his arm, I think.
Yeah, I was just gonna ask. I couldn't remember if he had any on his face. I know Rial also has some on her arm because she says that she got both just to survive, basically.
Exactly. Yeah, and to talk about that a little bit more. Most groups consider the facial scarification as part of their culture, whilst up to today, it is not clear if the facial scarification was part of culture before the colonization period, or if the British colonizers introduced it to differentiate the different ethnic groups, which I thought was interesting. Dr. Deng Etem, a medical specialist in Kouajok, says the head marks have become a death certificate nowadays in South Sudan. One of the reasons, according to the doctor, is that many Dinka and Nuer were killed because they were able to identify each other through the traditional head markings. So, yeah, so exactly what you said. So that's why it's so cringy that the doctor complimented her, because she was like, bitch, I had to do this just to survive. I mean, like I said, in some of the cultures, it is a mark of beauty, but if you don't know that and you're like commenting on it, then it's very cringy. And Google's free. I just found that in one website. So there you go. And also she's like talking to her as if she has treated other people that are in the same situation. You wouldn't think to just do a quick little search, Miss Doctor Lady. All right. So Rial tells Bull about what the entity said to her. I think at this, I go between calling it a demon, but I think she calls it a witch. I know it has a name that I found in like certain areas. But what was it?
Apeth. Or Apeth.
Oh. Okay.
A night witch.
Oh, okay. So if I refer to it as a demon, know that I'm saying a witch. So she says that the witch told her that they don't belong there, that if they leave, they can be with their daughter. And after this is the part where I regretted watching this at 11:30 p.m. on a Monday night. I didn't end up like being actually scarred by this movie, like really scared to the point where I couldn't sleep or that I keep thinking about it. But it did freak me out at this moment where the kid is staring at him from the hallway. That scared the absolute shit out of me. And I have no idea. Like, he ran out of the house after that shit happened. I have no idea how he ran back into the house. Or how we went back into the house. I would have been gone.
Yeah. But I mean, in his shoes, because you were also in this scene too, where she's just like staring at him like, what the hell are you doing?
I would have been like, can I
like his awkward smile.
Do you have a couch?
He's just like,
he's trying. He's funny. I forget how funny he is.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, in his perspective, you got to make it look like everything's normal for your neighbor. You got to fit in.
Yeah, that's true.
So he's just like, bite the bullet, go through. Yeah. And he's been through some stuff. So, I mean.
Poor guy.
Yeah.
And then after he freaks out, Rial's just waiting. This is my favorite part where she's waiting at the stairs and she's like, well, I wish somebody would have warned you that there's a fucking witch in this house and she wants us to fucking leave. I wish somebody would have told you that. Just that look she had where she was like, well, I fucking told you.
Yeah, what the hell, bro?
And then he says, you're right. So we got to start burning everything, including the scarf that's on your head.
The necklace.
I laughed so hard.
Or the necklace, everything. even his shirt. But like, I don't get like why not all their clothes.
I don't know.
I just was like, it didn't make sense. But
I mean, it's the middle of the night and a witch is haunting them. So I doubt logic is at the forefront of their mind right now.
Just saying, Bull. Don't make sense.
And so the next day, Bull gets some clothes at what looks like an H&M. That's what Sebastian said. He was like, is he at a fucking H&M right now? And I hope you noticed the guard that followed him as soon as he walked into the store.
He was like on his magazine. He put it down and he was like, I got to follow this man.
And I like that they didn't, like, that was the only instances of us like seeing that, you know, like it was very clear what he was doing, but they didn't really pay too much attention to it. Like, I thought he was going to have a altercation with him,
I thought so
but
too.
but I like that they did that they made sure to still keep him in a world that was very real, that's very much something that would happen just based on how he looks, which is sad. But like I said, I like that they mentioned that, or that they had that.
It's real.
Exactly. After this, I think Rial, she says my favorite. Oh, no. So after that, he fixes up the house and he walks into the kitchen and Rial's just whispering to the witch. I laughed so hard at that, where she was just like, he walks into the room like,
excuse me?
Who are you talking to? And my favorite quote was what Rial says about why she's not scared of it. She says, and I'm paraphrasing here, that after all the shit that they've gone through and all the things that they've seen men do, you think a couple of bumps in the night scare me? Man, that line delivery, perfect.
What a boss move. I know, this ain't shit.
And she kind of like, she keeps that same energy throughout.
Yeah.
Where she's
about it.
Yeah, she's like, she just looks annoyed, which I love. And I've always, you know what, I think that's why I love this movie so much, because I've always said that.
Yeah.
I've always said, if I get haunted by a witch, I think or a demon, I would be just so annoyed.
I was just about to say that.
I'd be so pissed.
Like, get over it already.
Like, can you wait? You know, like we just moved here. Can we settle in? Can we get a fucking moment to breathe? Yeah, that'd be my mood. I'd just be so pissed. So very relatable. And the animation, I just want to take a note about the animation and the makeup is so cool. It's so good. I don't know. I think the big marker for me, at least there were some moments where I could tell that it was like CGI, but for the most part, whenever they're attacking him with like the really cool like light trick where the light is turned off and then he can see them, he turns it back
Lights
on
out.
But then like, yeah, but it's like it does it a really inventive way. It's like not,
especially when the daughter turns on the light and then turns it off. Oh my God. Because like you said, at this point the like nightmares have only been in the dark and she's there in the light.
Yeah.
It's like, oh shit.
It's like, you're not supposed to do that. But that is the turn of like kind of, I mean, Lights Out, maybe not the movie itself, but that short film, it kind of, it did that Insidious thing. But then this one, I think this movie did reinvent it in a way that was very, like it didn't seem derivative. I definitely thought of it after, but the way they did it was so smart, where there was like, it played with two different light switches on opposite sides of the room. The fact that he was in the room with the entities, the fact that he could still hear it moving, like he could see the footprints in the light, that he could hear them. Yeah, that it just, I think also too, because at least in the short film, they're separated by rooms. Like one of them is in the hallway and she's in the room, but they're in the same room and it's very claustrophobic. So I feel like there's just different ways. That's what I mean by there's different ways you could do that Insidious scare, but you would just have to do it so differently. And this movie does it very well. Oh, well, the short, now I'm thinking about it, the way it ends is actually really cool. Kind of similar to how she does the light switch where he does the yank. Yeah, you know. I mean, like you said, it's really hard to be original, but there's ways that you can change it, and maybe even just changing the setting of the movie, just having it being a movie about loss and about grief and about being a refugee, the experience of being a refugee, like that stuff. I feel like that maybe that sets it differently. Maybe that's the inventive thing where you can do the Insidious scare, but it's a different setting, so it's totally like not the same. I don't know. That's not for me to decide. But anyways, and I do. So this is the moment where I do want to talk about how much I love that this story is being told through a horror film.
Yeah.
Because to me, and I think what we're both kind of talking about is that the intense trauma that Bull and Riel went through, and just at this moment, we only know parts of it, that how much it is affecting them is served so well. Like being able to see that is served so well through this genre. And I mean, I think you could do that with drama or with like comedy, like with other means, but this just feels so effective. And as somebody, like we said before, that we can't identify at all with what this couple is going through. I think we do have maybe just a little bit of a better understanding about them and about their situation and what that kind of trauma does to a person. Because yeah, this whole survivor's guilt, like that, like everything, it just feels so elevated, and it does feel like dramatized. Like at the end, I'm getting ahead of myself, but at the end where Bull says, maybe I was just being a bit dramatic. Like I love when he says that, because this movie and horror film it does feel very dramatic. Like if you've seen the movie Relic, that's about dementia, it is a very dramatic way to tell this story, but it is a dramatic thing that's happening. And I think the only way to sort of show people rather than tell them is through a movie like this.
Yeah. There's a lot of interesting,
like the imagery.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting like ideas. Like just with horror, I feel like you said this earlier, a lot of scary movies are shifting towards this where they're more based in not so much, oh, there's a scary guy. Oh no, Mr. Scary Guy, stop it. It's based in real like themes, real stuff. And I think that's for me, I really like movies like those because not only are you scared and you think about that, because I'll think about movies that genuinely scared me, but they also teach you stuff.
Yeah, and if you want to be truly scared by a movie, then that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, not to say that a movie like Blair Witch isn't scary.
Yeah.
But
what does it teach you?
Like a witch is scary, right? But like, I mean, I know they're not real. Well, I don't know. I choose to believe they're not real. Oh God, the light. You see how the light keeps like going on and off. Never mind. I'm sorry. No, but like, you know what I mean? Like that is kind of easy in your mind to just put away, like to compartmentalize. But a movie like Hereditary, where it's teaching you that like fucked up shit that's happening throughout your family, like mental health, for example, there's certain things that are genetic and you can't escape it. It's going to happen to you. Like that shit, that's hard to, I mean, that movie is scary, but that movie is like the way that it's trying to teach you something is fucking scary. But that's how it feels when you're going through something like that. It does feel, I mean, the very few movies that I can watch and that I can identify with, this is not one of them, but as speaking of like thinking about one that I can, it is very scary.
Yeah.
And to a certain point, at least for me, I love movies like this. It sounds weird, but I love watching movies like this because at least I can't speak to being an asylum seeker, but at least to the movies I'm thinking of, it feels kind of comforting that somebody went out of their way to make this movie to show you, I know what you're going through and I'm trying to tell other people. And it does feel weirdly comforting that people are telling you, yeah, it's scary.
Yeah.
It's okay though. You'll be fine, but it's scary. Sometimes you need that. But yeah. I love horror films. And I love this. I love that horror is evolving to that. To these movies that are going through like we can't just be scared of a demon anymore. It has to be reflective of your intense traumas that you experienced.
They're hitting you with it.
All right. So after this, Bull goes back to the social worker from the beginning, Mark, to tell him that the house is just not working out. But the guy is not really at any help. He tells them that them leaving just will not bode well for his case. And that it'll show them that they're not adapting well. And Bull's like, no, we are adapting well. It's the house. And then we hear in the background where some of the guys are like, well, that house is bigger than mine.
Bigger than mine.
Nobody fucking asked you. Is it big enough to house a witch? Do you want the witch to be living on your fucking couch? No. Come on.
He just leaves. It's so funny.
Yeah. Well, not after just absolutely destroying his glass cup. I thought he like threw something.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Like dropped it.
That's what I thought too. I thought it was a window. He must have been gripping hard.
I don't blame him. And after that, they go to the house and they see all of the holes in the wall. I love when the way Bull's sitting on the couch.
Yeah.
How he has his hands on his knees.
And it's so funny because Real comes in and is like, oh, did you tell him about the witch? Like all nonchalant.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh.
They said that Bull like begs them not to report it because he does not want to go back. And then they start to agree. They're like, fine. Mark's like, it's okay. We won't say anything. You just got to fix it. And the other guy's like, what? And then Real walks out. Oh, one more thing. Did he mention the ghosts?
That's so funny.
Oh, and then she's wearing like a gown kind of thing. And it just, Mark is like, what? Oh God. But this is the perfect time that we need to pause and talk about Real's performance. Or the actress name is Wunmi. Oh God damn it. Wunmi Musaku. Sorry. Wunmi Musako. Her performance is fucking amazing. She's so damn good in this movie. I think they both are, but to me she stands out. She's like, even the looks that she gives to him when she like at this point, whenever she tells him, I'm going to go back because we don't belong here. And Bull's like, I don't want to, we should be staying here. And she like the looks that she gives him to basically tell him that the fact that he wants to be so much like Mark and like, you know, all the other white people that are living there is pretty pathetic. Like she just like, and the fucking daggers of the looks that she's giving him is cutting through him. It's like, oh, she's so good in this movie. But he's not really fazed by her, and it seems like he's even more determined to keep her in that house. So he fucking locks her in.
He does the most. He messes up the house even more.
Yeah, it really stressed me out.
So
like, please stop breaking shit. And then he decides he's going to talk to the damn witch. And the witch tells him to cut open his flesh. Just casual, cut open your flesh to sacrifice yourself for your daughter. And then he sees his daughter in the sea and an octopus crawls out of her mouth, which is my actual nightmare. That scared the shit out of me. And I looked at Sebastian and I said, well, I can't wait to dream about that tonight. I didn't, but it's going to happen. I already know.
Yeah, it'll happen tonight because you're talking about it.
Yeah, probably. Real escapes as Bull's like in a trance. And when she gets outside, she's suddenly in Sudan. It's very, I mean, I like that they did this. It feels, even for the viewer, it felt like very, I keep saying jarring, but kind of like that, where I was like, where the fuck is she?
Yeah.
Because then I had to remember, like, is that what the outside looks like? It doesn't. And after she realizes that she's dreaming, this sequence is so good, where she's sitting there and she's like, she's not as, she's not screaming or she's not having as bad of a time as Bull is.
She's like, I gotta go.
Yeah, she's like surrounded by a bunch of women, and I think it looks like a classroom. I don't really know what it is, but and yeah, she realized she's dreaming and she walks out of the classroom. There's this really, the imagery in this scene is it feels very dreamlike in the way that it feels like kind of a nightmare. Like when I'm remembering it now, it feels like I dreamed it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because it's very non-linear, where she's sitting in the group and then we see her standing up and she's like standing weird and she's looking at something. And then we see Bull coming in. And when they walk out, he's like, we got to go. And they walk out and all the women that were there, are like all like shot dead on the floor.
Yeah. Well, she was in the cabinet.
Oh, yeah, that's what it was. But when she got out, she was like standing weird. And I don't know why that just felt, I just love how they did that because it felt like they like accessed a part of my brain that like was a dream. I don't know how to describe it. Yeah. Hopefully somebody knows what I'm saying.
I don't know. I'm scared.
But yeah, it just feels like I like those like when you, it's kind of like an Inception where he asks her like, do you remember how we got here? And she's like, no. And he's like, we're in a fucking dream, bitch. Like, that's why it just feels like that, where I'm like, how the fuck did we get here? After this, we see this. I was not expecting this next part at all. So we see what really happened when they left Sudan. Because at the beginning, we didn't see the full part of it. I think we kind of filled in the blanks and they did it for us too. But they did have little not Easter eggs, but they did leave little clues in the beginning where Bull says that he wants to start a family, and I think the audience were like, you had a family, you asshole. Like it's like, there's like little things that happen. Or she tells this story about somebody stealing, and she says when she talks about the house, she mentions that they keep their stealing it. She just mentioned stealing a lot. And so now we know why. So whenever they were trying to leave on this bus, they were only letting people with children on. And so Bull just took a child. He just found a child next to him and he said, this is our child. But after they left, the mom was running towards her and we were like, oh fuck, that's not their kid. He just took their kid, somebody else's kid. Then after that, Riel promised the child she was going to protect her, but then they lost her at sea and she died. And yeah, the fact that they didn't lose their child, they lost somebody else's child, just really shook me.
He basically killed her. I mean, who knows what would have happened if...
Yeah, she might have died, but like it wasn't that was not his thing it wasn't his path to choose. Sorry, I'm rambling, but yeah.
He chose it, man.
And it really did make me see Bull in a whole new way.
Yeah.
Where the witch was like, the witch told Riel, just give me Bull's flesh and then we can bring her back. And I was like, oh, I don't know if that's a bad idea.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding. At the beginning, I felt bad for Bull because I was like, he's really trying.
He's trying, yeah.
He was like, he was adapting. He went to that bar and was singing those football songs.
Oh, yeah.
But after this, it's just like, it's hard to be on his side. And I love when movies do that.
Yes. Switch it on us.
Like,
because then you also saw yourself, at least for me, I saw myself being kind of upset at Riel, where like, I understand where she's coming from. But it seemed like he was trying to do the best with what they have. But then like the way that she is so disgusted by him in the movie, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. Either way, it's still hard. But even then, after thinking about it now, like after the movie, it's hard to judge him for that because, like, who's to say I wouldn't do that?
Yeah,
I want to say now I wouldn't.
He was put in a very, very rough situation.
Exactly, and he wasn't doing it selfishly either. I mean, well, he was, but he also is doing it for his wife. So, like, I don't know. And maybe he could have thought like that he was going to save that kid. I don't think he thought he would, the kid would die. So like, I don't know. I don't know if you can judge that, but I did. And I feel bad. Anyway, so yeah, so she's contemplating it, I think. It looks like she is, where she walks to the window or to the sink and it looks like she's thinking about if she's going to do it or not, but we don't get to tell if she is because he does it for her. And I think after that, like I think I only had like a few minutes where I was like, fuck Bull, but then I was like, like he sacrificed himself for the girl, so like
Yeah.
it's hard to hate him.
He came, like, he realized his mistake at the end. Like, he was ready to sacrifice himself for it. And the way the demon just came out of the ground
Oof.
and tried to, it was just like straight into his wound, because he cut him his like forearm, top of his forearm. And demon was like,
it just dug in.
Talk about the CGI. When the demon gets his hand in the wound and wraps his hand around his like
I wanted
wrist.
to puke. Jesus Christ, it was bad. Just the way, like, when I hate to like do graphic imagery, but the way he just like at the very beginning when he just dug his fingers into the fucking flesh. Oh my God. But that imagery though is so powerful to the grief. Like he's letting the grief take him, right? He's letting his demons take him.
Yeah.
And not the only way, but a great way to show that is to show that gory image. And I think maybe for some movies, it feels like too aggressive, but I think for this movie and the purpose it's trying to serve, it's perfect.
Yeah, it was reaching this point. I'll
never forget that image ever.
It looked like a knot in his wrist.
Oh, and those fingers. Ugh.
Even his face, because when he talks to Bull, all you see is his eyes in the shadows.
Yeah.
Then you see his face.
And then when he talks to Rial, they never really. I don't think he shows his face.
No, we got Voldemort.
And then
showing up.
I was gonna make a joke, but I don't. Never mind. I'll just move on.
Okay.
I was gonna say, and then Mitch McConnell just crawls out from the floor.
Yeah. That's funny.
Keep it in. Fuck Mitch McConnell. All right, so as the demon takes him, the girl, she does come back to Rial. She holds her hand, but then Rial, I think she has like a flashback of her and the girl in Sudan, and then she just decides that she lets go of her hand and she kills the demon to save Bull. And in the end, after that horrific night, Mark and the other workers, they come back to take pictures and see that everything is, I mean, I said that it was looking okay, but it still looks rough. It's like all patchy, but it's not, there's no holes in the wall, so like whatever. And I wrote what Bull says at the end, what he says to Mark, when Mark asked if the witch was still there. I think he was like joking, asking him that. But Bull says, your ghosts follow you. They never leave. They live with you. It's when I let them in, I could start to face myself.
Dang. Bull's got bars.
Yeah. And I hate bars. I hate when movies are like, kind of hit it too, nail it too much on the head, but like that I think that's a perfect way to put it. It doesn't leave it too much to interpretation. He's like, I had to face it, and we did it, and we're fine. But I do want to like have a question about, this is probably a stupid question, but after this we see a really powerful image of like after they leave, of Bull and Rial like standing in their house, and a bunch of other I think spirits or people are standing there with them. Are those the people? Those are the people in the boat, right?
Well, it's them, but it's also the people that all died in the classroom with Rial. I'm sure all the people who didn't make it on the bus. I think it's just everyone who didn't survive.
Oh, who didn't? Okay, that makes sense. Because like we said, it brings up a great theme that I hadn't noticed until the very end about survivor's guilt. I mean, I obviously noticed like, the demons and what happened to them, but I think a huge part of it was the survivor's guilt. Especially, I mean, I think it's very much multiplied by the fact that they stole a girl and then she died.
Yeah.
But it does feel like something very realistic that a lot of refugees deal with. And like we said, something that we can't identify with, where you are grateful, like it's the conflict that they had, where they're grateful to have this new chance, but this new chance is stained by so much blood that they experience and that they had to go through, and that know that other people that are in that house, the other spirits in that house, that they can't experience. But I guess the other side of that is that Bull and Real get to bring that. It's kind of like, this is a weird movie to bring up, but like in Coco, when they, when they said that the people move on to the other side, or they, not the other side, but they get lost when when the last person that remembered them died. And that kind of made me think of this, where even though these people, they can't bring these people back. I mean, who's to say if Rial could have actually brought her back?
Yeah.
But the fact that they are alive and they can and they remember and they can tell these people's stories, and that they remember what happened to them, I think that's a really important piece of this. And I just really love that they showed that.
Yeah.
And hopefully people that are going through that, in any sort of survivor's guilt, that you realize that you shouldn't feel guilty. I mean, this is not going to solve it, but you shouldn't feel guilty for being the one that survived, especially when you have the purpose to like share the story with other people. Yeah. Like through like a movie like this.
Yeah. I mean, that's the great thing about movies.
Yeah.
Show all the stories. Tell all the stories.
And I guess a really good question that we're left with, at least I found, was that if I don't know if it matters, we don't have to answer it, but is if this actually happened or if it was all in their head. Because for me, I first thought that it was all in their head and that it's clear to say that. But one thing that makes me question if it actually was in their head was at the end when Mark comes, like Mark and the other people come, there's a carpet over the sinkhole.
Yeah.
So how else could that have happened if not for the witch?
I don't know. I mean, if it was in their head, they probably did something to make that. But I like to think that it really happened, because that makes the movie. I don't know. That's an interesting question. That I
mean, who's to say if the director even wants us to ask that, or if that's even relevant? But like, I just thought it was interesting, especially when they made a point to show the carpet being covered.
Yeah.
Or the sinkhole being covered.
Yeah, that's. Well, I don't remember. Is she wearing the necklace at the end? Because he burns the necklace, but then it gets brought back to her.
She was wearing a necklace.
So that's the only thing. Because like I'm trying to think if there's any other.
We can't see if Bull has a bandage either.
That's true, and
because she has long sleeves. But if you see Rial, one of her arms has a bandage hanging out of it.
Damn.
I don't know. Just something to think about. Do you want to? Okay, last thing. I don't have any fun facts because the IMDb didn't have any. But do you want to do what prop would you steal? I don't know.
I'd take the necklace.
Ooh, I take the doll.
That doll's creepy.
Exactly. Add it to my collection. I have a voodoo doll, so I'll just put it next to it.
Spot on.
Yeah.
Well, his house. I like that. I
Very good. Oh yeah, let's do final thoughts. What did you think?
I like it. I like movies that will teach me something, and I like I said, it's in that genre where it's a horror movie that combines something that is traditionally scary, like a demon or a witch, but it pairs it with something that new scary movie stuff where it's like there's real stuff. We're talking real stuff here. Survivor's Guilt in this case. So I enjoyed this, even though it was kind of a slow burn. But I liked it.
I loved it. I love movies that start out really scary, and then when you get to, it's kind of like the unknown, right? So if you're talking about mental illness, where you know something's wrong, you don't know what it is. And that's what this movie, like the beginning is so terrifying, but once they start to realize and kind of recognize that the issues are what they dealt with in the past, and the demons are just the shit that they had to deal with, and the people that they left behind, that it became a little less scary. Still like rough, but a lot less scary.
Yeah.
So I love movies like that. And I just love watching movies from other perspectives, like we said. To watch a horror movie about, like, I just love that we got to watch a horror movie about the experience of a refugee from South Sudan. Like, that's very specific, but it still felt very universal. Yeah. All right. So what are we watching next? If you say a fucking animated movie, Anthony, I know you told me at the beginning, but I totally forgot what it was.
Flushed Away. I'm just playing.
Oh,
Flushed Away is coming. I'm letting you know that will be a movie that I will pick.
Just give me a month, please.
I will. We're going to be watching Burning Cane. It's on Netflix. It came out in 2019. Here's the synopsis. An aging mother who lives in the cane fields of rural Louisiana is torn between her religious convictions and the love of her son.
Ooh. I don't think I've ever heard of this movie before.
Me neither. But it is very short. Only 77 minutes long. So now we're in 10 for you.
Love a short one.
For you folk. So watch it.
Thank you. I was doing the mental math.
So watch it. Netflix. Burning Cane. His house. This episode. Good one. Weird episode. I don't know how to feel about this one.
I think it's great.
Goodbye, y'all. Have a good one.
Bye.